What an awesome intro. Damn, that's great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Get you the feels of adventure. That's right, the sense of adventure. I blew it. During the intro, I was like, God damn it. I should have ran and grabbed my sword. I should have grabbed my sword, represented, held it up. I have the power. That's right. What is going on?
You have a He-Man sword? You have one of those?
No. I just like doing that. I just randomly do that. I'll grab a fork or a butter knife in the kitchen, and I'll just do that. You know, because I represent old school there. What is going on? It's your boy Preston, Phat Samurai Guy, back again with another awesome guest today. That's right, filmmaker, writer, comedian. He has done it all. Chris Mancini, welcome back, brother.
Great to be here, buddy. Always fun. I know we're going to do a deep dive into fantasy and movies, and I'm always up for it. And I always try to see if I could count how many figures are behind you. I'm like, I always, get to about 200, then I stop. So
I think we've stopped too. We don't even know. We were doing like a little bit of a bootleg spring cleaning, the other day, and I was just like, how many Funko Pops do we have? I don't even know. I just lost count. Finding Funko Pops we didn't even own, like behind couches and shit. We're like,
trying to flee.
We didn't know. Didn't even know we bought this. Oh my goodness! But it's good to see you, and you look great, brother.
Thanks.
I'm happy. I'm happy you are healthy, and you're feeling better. That's what's important.
Yep. Had a little bit of an accident off of an e-bike, and ended up getting multiple hip surgeries. So I've been kind of incapacitated for a while. So it's good to be upright and doing better, and able to do interviews again. So this is. Were you trying
to reenact Tom Cruise's stunts from the last Mission Impossible movie?
I was on an e-bike, which doesn't have enough power for that. So lesson learned. So.
Well, I'm glad you look good. You look like nothing happened to you. So I'm glad Chris is on the road to recovery, baby.
On the mend, yes.
On the mend, yes. So, and thank you, everybody watching right now.
So what do you got? Got my cane. If you can barely see it. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Try to get it. There you go. Yeah.
Sadly enough, my wife bought me the cane. I'm like, well, does it turn into a sword, or is there a gun inside? Come on. It can't just be a cane.
You beat me to it, man. I was like, you got Daredevil capabilities. Whip it out, some nunchucks, Zatoichi cane sword. That's what I thought we were rolling with there. But it's good to have you back here on the channel, man. And we're talking fantasy today. That's right. And, like I've said before, Chris, you are family. You're a family here. That's right. We are brothers. Why? Because you are a connoisseur like me of the action and martial arts genre. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. And I got my copy of Rise of the Kung Fu Dragon Master, and I can't wait for more. But we're switching it up because today is Fantasy Day. That's right.
Yep.
Look at this thick bad boy right here. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, when digital comics, when that was like the trend, when that came out, what did you think about the digital comics spectrum? Were you all for it? Or were you kind of like...
Here's the thing. I was always all for it, but I never saw it as replacing hard copy comics. I felt like it's like another tool. And one of the things, too, is it's like they're easier to get. Like, you don't have to show up at your comic book store and you get issues 1, 3, and 5, you know, whereas digital, you can always kind of get what you want. And I like kind of having it backlit on a tablet. Sometimes the art is even easier to see and enjoy. Whereas there's nothing still like holding a solid physical book in your hand. So I feel like, you know, this whole either or thing, I think misses the point. It's like, enjoy the medium. We want to tell stories. Enjoy the story the way you want to enjoy it, and I'm perfectly fine if that's digital or a hard copy. That's why, you know, when we ever do Kickstarters, we always offer both, because we tried to do a digital once and it fell flat because people really, you know, at least half the people, probably closer to 70%, want the physical copy signed and in their hand.
Right. Well, it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. You know, you can hold it in your hand. You can smack somebody upside the head with it.
Kill flies, so all sorts of stuff.
Kill flies. Hold it up in the kitchen. Say, you know, I have the power.
Yeah.
But yeah, digital is, you know, I get it. I totally get, you know, the convenience of it. You know, like my buddy of mine, when he was getting into digital comics, when it was like the new thing, he was like, "Hey, man, I can download the entire, what was it, Marvel Zombies, the entire Marvel Zombies saga," and I was like, "Oh my god." So yeah, I get it, but it is nice. There's nothing like holding it in your hand. And we're talking long ago and far away, one of the most entertaining, action-packed, and most importantly, hilarious graphic novels I've read in a long time. I'm telling you, Chris has got Samurai Guy reading graphic novels again. I thought I was done.
Yeah, I dragged you back in.
You dragged me back in. I thought I was out. But yeah, man, love the artwork. Very fun, but just really hilarious. It's just a lot of fun. But we're gonna get to the next chapter a little bit later. But first off, you know what we love doing here? We love talking movies.
Absolutely.
It's what the channel is all about. Chris, what have you seen? We're gonna get to the fantasy list in a second. Yeah. What have you seen recently that you enjoyed?
There's you know, because I've been recovering and convalescing, I've actually watched a fair amount of things. But one of the things I did was to really kind of pass the time and catch up, as I revisited all of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. Because even with the extended editions, I'm like, okay, well, each one is between 2 and 4.5 hours long. This will take me a while to get through. So I watched them in order. I watched the first 3 Hobbits. Then I watched Lord of the Rings, like not in shoot order, in chronological order, you know, because obviously Lord of the Rings came first. And I gotta say, they do hold up as far as like classic fantasy, elves, dwarves, missions, you know, secret quests and, you know, magic artifacts. It's like Tolkien, you know, he just nailed it as far as like kind of setting the groundwork for a lot of what modern fantasy is. And Peter Jackson really kind of channeled that traditional fantasy and then just kind of moved it forward into a modern age. I'm sure Tolkien, if he would have survived, if he would have lived longer, he would have loved the films. I mean, I thought they were really good, and I was worried. I was like, well, are these going to hold up? Is the effects? Is the dragon not going to look cool? No, I you know, of course, it might be the painkillers saying this, but I thought everything was great and it held up.
Smaug,
awesome. Yeah,
good old Smaug.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's just perfect fantasy talk, and you're kicking it off with Lord of the Rings. You know, it's hard to, even if you're not a fan of Lord of the Rings, because everybody likes things that are different. You know, like sometimes they'll branch out and try something different, or they stick with what's comfortable. And fantasy is not for everyone all the time. But I have a lot of friends that they've seen all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, and they're not, fantasy is not their go-to, like their
Right.
number one, right? They'll go to like martial arts, action, horror, and then fantasy or whatever, right? Sci-fi, then fantasy. But the fantasy is not their go-to. But even they are like, dude, this is not my thing. It's not really my thing, but this is like, I can't argue with when people say this is like one of the best trilogies, movie trilogies, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is like ever.
Yeah, totally.
And I still say to this day, good luck with them trying to remake and start a brand new trilogy. Like,
I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. Because the main story's been told, and it's been told in a way that I don't know how you're going to improve upon it. Now, the Tolkien legacy and all of these other books, there's still a lot of like rich history. Like it's being kind of explored in the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon, which is it's okay. I can't say it's amazing. It's okay. It definitely kept me watching. I was really intrigued by some of the parts of it. But what I did do, it made me curious to actually read about Numenor, that island city that like fell into the ocean. And I started reading the books. But the thing is, it's like, it's a lot of fragments because Tolkien never finished a lot of these stories. So you've got this love story, you've got what happened to the this city of like these men that wouldn't age, and men and women who wouldn't age, but they were still jealous of the elves' immortality, and Sauron and played into that and corrupted them and made them help them make the rings, and then also sent them against the elves because they thought they're hiding the immortality from you. And then like there's a lot of like cool stuff in there that hasn't made it to the show yet, so I'm thinking, well, maybe this will be season 2, because there's actually a lot of interesting lore, and how Sauron was actually just a regular guy at one point, and he was kind of seductive, and then all hell broke loose, and the elves said, yeah, you shouldn't really be here, we're going to destroy your entire island now. No, well done.
Shit. Shit. Done fucked up.
Yeah. So, and you get little glimpses of that in when I rewatched Lord of the Rings. Like Aragorn, he mentioned like he was a descendant from Numenor, and how he was like 80 years old, and like it didn't click the first time, but like when you have like kind of a little more of that background, it becomes a fun Easter egg as you rewatch these movies and see like there's little hints to like the appendices and all of these other stories that Tolkien alluded to. But I don't know how Amazon makes a deal and says we're going to give you $250 million for the rights, but only for this small part of the rights. I mean, they don't have the rights to any of like the big stories. It's unbelievable. That's negotiate better. So for $250 million, that's before a frame of film has been shot. But I want to see more Lord of the Rings, but I want to see it done well. I just don't want to see rehash. I mean, that's you get into the superhero stuff. It's like I can't watch the Flashpoint paradox again in any form, in the book, in the movies, in animation. We've seen it about 5 times now. There's other stories. Let's see different things.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. You got Brian Sanchez in the house. What's going on, Brian? Throwing it up, thumbs up, throwing it up.
Awesome. Hey, Brian.
Metal horns up, representing. But yeah, I think last time we mentioned, last time you were here, you were like talking about briefly the Lord of the Rings series, and you were kind of like, you like some stuff, but you were kind of
Because here's the thing: is going in as a fan, like you already want to like it, so your predisposition is to like it, even if it's mediocre. So if it goes too far, off track, you're like, this, I don't know if this is where I would like things to be. But the source material is there. There's some great stories. I just like to see them actually implement. So most likely it'll be season 2. But yeah, there was a fair amount of like misfires on the show. But it was, let me put it this way, it was now in the land of streaming where there's so much to watch, you don't have to finish a season. I did still finish the season. I was really interested, and it did pick up towards the end. But you definitely wanted more. I think it's for the people that really like Lord of the Rings that are a bit more forgiving. That's who the show is for.
Gotcha. You got the Sexy Sumo saying all Peter Jackson's extended cuts is the only way to watch.
Totally, absolutely.
So how do you honestly feel about the Hobbit trilogy?
You know what? The Hobbit trilogy, watching it again, it's definitely bloated because that was a very smaller book that got extended into 3 movies.
Yeah.
Now, it did go into like some of the other stories and the appendices and stuff, but I felt like that was part cash grab for sure. Even though I liked them, they were good. That could have easily been 2 movies. You didn't really need to stretch it down to 3. I mean, I went old school too. Then I watched the animated Rankin Bass Hobbit from the 70s, and I'm like, I just want to watch this one again too. And it's amazing how they like did the entire Hobbit story in about like 70-80 minutes. And
Did
they
you do
really
the other ones?
along. Yeah.
Did you do the other animated movies? Oh.
Dude, they are hard to find. Like,
really?
Yeah. There's one. I don't even know if people know this. There's a Ralph Bakshi one, like a Lord of the Rings, where it goes from like I think the first 2 books of Lord of the Rings, and then there's an animated one after that called Return of the King that kind of caps it off. But he does this weird rotoscoping shit, like in the animation. And
That's the one I remember, yeah.
And it's super trippy because it was so expensive. He reuses footage over and over, so it almost looks like your brain is in a loop because you're watching some of the same motions over and over.
Yeah.
It's just this weird trip, and those 2 are harder to find. Like the Hobbit animated is easier to find, but Lord of the Rings animated, or Return of the King animated, and the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings are harder to find. But, for as far as film historians like we are, Preston, you really want to enjoy and go into that archive sometimes to really appreciate what came before.
I just want an excuse to sing "Where There's a Whip, There's a Way" song.
Yeah, I mean, you remember that? Yeah,
I never forgot it, man. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip. Yeah, where's a way? That's
there's going to be that stuff in all of the Rankin Bass animation. These weird songs.
That one had a good groove to it, man.
Yeah.
That's it. My new alarm to get up in the morning.
He was making a ringtone. Yeah.
Well, Chris is calling me. What do we got going on now? Oh my god. Well, that's awesome, man. So that took about a week. Huh.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think Return of the King was literally, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. I think that one was, the extended cut was about 4.5 hours. So it was a really great thing to kind of go in and out of while I was kind of recovering on the couch. So really fun.
Nice. Do you have a personal favorite out of each trilogy?
I am such a huge fan of dragons, so I really loved like the Smaug stuff in The Hobbit. I think what I really liked that Peter Jackson did is, because the book is a little thinner and doesn't go into as much depth, and the movies, he gave the dwarves more personality and made them more of like kind of a displaced people. And like in, the book, and even like in the first animated movie, obviously, they were just kind of like, it was Bilbo's story, but it was more like the dwarves were like window dressing, just kind of along for the ride. But Peter Jackson gave them kind of their own story, their own arc, and it really kind of fleshed out the story a little bit more. So that stuff I really liked when he kind of added details and fleshed things out. It's just, there was these whole hours in the lake town that could have easily been taken out. But the dragon stuff, all super cool. And then, the Battle of the Five Armies was just freaking, unbelievable. It's like just to watch. Yeah, it was like watching like Black Hawk Down on a fantasy battlefield.
Yeah. I enjoy all 3 of the original Lord of the Rings movies. It's interesting because everyone, it's weird. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is sometimes treated, I feel, like the Indiana Jones trilogy. No other Indiana Jones movies exist, so the Indiana Jones trilogy, Indiana Jones trilogy, where pretty much for the most part everyone says the first one's the best, but the third one people like that more. They watch that more. They enjoyed 1 and 3 the most, but it's like one in the middle that is not as many people's favorites. Like Temple of Doom, which I still love. I grew up with it. God damn it. I'm gonna love it, right? So, but I feel like Two Towers is great.
Two Towers is fantastic. I mean that whole trilogy,
really
like,
good.
He really knew where to break things up too. I mean, the Battle of Helm's Deep wasn't even that big in the books, but he expanded it and made it just like this great epic battle. And it was even to the point where it's like, well, no, there's more to come. There's still another movie. You're going to get a lot more, and it's going to get even crazier. So I really felt like, that was definitely the Empire Strikes Back version of Lord of the Rings when you get the second
the darkest, the leaving you open at the end.
Yep, what's going to happen?
I love how it ends with Gollum, talking shit.
Yeah.
And like, follow me. You know what I mean? I don't have my Gollum juice that kept drinking to do it. But that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, let's keep it fantasy here. I brought up a list. I can't show the list because they're showing footage of the movie. But this random list I found from Collider says 12 best fantasy movies from the 1980s everyone should check out.
Oh, and I think I know what's on the list, but go ahead.
Yes, right. All right. So, number 12, and give me your thoughts on each movie when I name them out here.
Yes.
Number 12, 1985's Legend.
Ah, Legend. I remember Legend. Legend was one of those weird movies with Tom Cruise that had absolutely unbelievably mesmerizing production design, costumes, and like this weird soundtrack from Tangerine Dream. Like it was super like 80s synth fantasy pop. And the story and like the actual movie isn't great, but it's so many other things are hitting on all cylinders. Like, Tim Curry is this creepy demon, and it's worth a look. It really just kind of does that thing that fantasy does, that kind of takes you into this other world, even though, story's not great, but it's worth a look for sure.
It's like whisper thin story. Like,
yes,
it's
pretty
like
much.
Super, have you ever seen the extended version with the Jerry Goldsmith score?
I don't think I have, actually.
Yeah, if you ever get around to it, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Because
they changed the score on the extended version?
The original score was Jerry Goldsmith. But the Ridley Scott was seeing the audience reaction. It was like too sweet. Like too fantasy, too sweet. And he was like, ugh. And people were kind of rolling their eyes. So that's where they went with the darker Tangerine Dream synth pop.
Yeah. And John Anderson, was singing like a song at the end. I mean, that's even also, we're talking about stuff that's hard to find. I would challenge anyone to try to find that soundtrack intact somewhere.
Which one?
The soundtrack to Legend, because I remember buying that on cassette. When I was younger. I can't imagine how hard that would be to find now.
Yeah. Oh, Jerry Goldsmith's a legend. I mean, no pun intended, but his score is beautiful.
Yeah.
But it was like, I don't know, man. It was weird. Like it was this kind of like, there was even a part, the part where she reaches out. The female in the movie, the princess, she reaches out to the horse, right? The unicorn.
Yeah, right.
Well, she sings. She sings in that one, and I'm like, oh no, no, what is this? No.
Oh, now I'm super curious. Now I want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Blu-ray 4K/4K has both versions, so you can watch both versions on there. Awesome. The good news is, the other extended scenes are pretty good, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Especially the Swamp Witch sequence. Oh, it's so much better. It's way better than the theatrical.
Oh, yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah, that one's great. All right, so that's number 12. Old school classic there. Visual insanity. The darkness is ridiculous. When you look at the darkness, you're like, oh, that's real, and that's walking around.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane, man. All right, here we go. I don't feel like this movie gets a lot of love. And maybe one day in the future, Chris, me and you could do a review on this on my Is It Underrated series. But 1981's Dragon Slayer.
Ah, Dragon Slayer. Ironically, a Disney movie, actually.
Is it? Dude,
it's a
Disney
movie.
movies were dark in the 80s, bro.
Yeah, and it was like the first kind of one that was like super dark, and it had like it was live action. It was a dragon. And one of the things they were promoting so much is like, you'll believe dragons are real, like, because they made practical effects of this giant dragon. And it is dark and weird and creepy. It has some of those weird Disney touches too. I'm like, well, I don't know if that even belongs in this movie. I mean, I get that Disney made the movie, but some of the cutesy stuff may not fly with the darker and more somber tone of this entire film. It is it's a little slow going, the movie, but it is definitely it's a classic 80s fantasy film for sure.
Yeah, just the visuals of the dragon, like it's like crazy,
incredible,
man. Yeah, and with which I keep forgetting his name. I call him Vigo, but that's not his name. From Ghostbusters 2, it's Vigo. that actor is like the protagonist, which I wasn't expecting.
Is it? I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was like the minion of Vigo. He was
I can't remember his name. Now I'm blanking too. That was contagious.
I know, right? Let me see if
somebody
have his name.
I want to say
they might have it here.
Nicholas. No, damn.
No, they don't have his name. I was trying to find it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that guy. Now this next one, Dragon Slayer is great. This next one, though, this is like a personal.
Oh, Peter McNichol, right?
Peter McNichol. You got the nickel right.
Yeah.
Peter McNichol. This next one is like one of my favorites of all time. I don't care what anybody says, right? I don't care. I love it. I got the goddamn sword. Don't make me get up and get the sword. I'll get up and get the sword, goddammit. But 1982, Conan the Barbarian. That's one of my favorites. I love it.
Dude, I literally just watched it again. I think maybe a week ago, I was sitting there. My wife and I are like, let's watch. This has just showed up on streaming. Let's watch this. And you know what?
Yeah.
It is classic Arnold Schwarzenegger. There are some stuff that doesn't hold up in a various ways culturally or production wise, but it is like one of those movies that is like it was a moment in time. Like we're getting a fantasy movie with monsters and giant snakes and sex and all of these things. And it was at the time it was hardcore. And people don't realize this too. Co-screenwriter Oliver Stone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that music, that score, dude. It's still.
They reused it for the sequel too. The same exact score.
Yeah. It felt like it was the lazier version of it. But man, Conan Barbarian. Love the sword. Love the Valeria character. She was a badass.
Yeah, she was great. Mm-hmm.
She didn't need no help. She was like, I'm going in. I'm fucking everybody up.
Yeah.
She was great. You want to live forever? Don't get me started on that movie, man.
Yeah. Really
What is it? The iconic scene where the enemies are coming at the end, and you have Conan having his moment where he's praying to Crom, and he's sitting there, and he's just like, if you do not listen, to hell with you. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's so good.
You got James Earl Jones turning into a giant snake. That you're never going to see that ever again in anywhere, in any universe, in any movie, anywhere ever. So it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And still the best Conan the Barbarian movie to this day. Still.
Well, Well, the sequel, Conan the Destroyer, was a little more lighthearted. It was
kind of like
sillier, but it was fun.
Yeah. It felt like it was the bloodiest PG movie ever.
I know.
I'm like, dude.
Yeah. And do you remember too that after that came out Red Sonja? But they couldn't get the rights somehow to the Conan character. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the movie as Conan, but they call him Lord Calidor instead. Yeah. But it's really, that's the point was that Conan and Red Sonja hung out. So that
would have been dope if they could have had him have the name. What's weird though is Red Sonja's been on 4K for a long time now. Mm-hmm. Conan and Destroyer, Barbarian and Destroyer, no 4K release. It's weird.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah,
that's
strange.
Now
that especially now that they're streaming, they should be up-resed. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah. Oh, Sumo says Renfield from Dracula Dead and loving it. Going back to Nichols.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, love Conan. Let's see here. Now, another childhood favorite. I don't know how people feel about it now, but 1981's Clash of the Titans.
Oh, yeah. Clash of the Titans. A lot of Greek mythology. We get the famous line, release the Kraken, that has been used every year in some movie somewhere since. Or just by drunk teenagers, when they're about to pee. That's... it's been used many times since the movie, and really fun, and a lot of stop motion animation for the monsters. Before that was not really a thing as much anymore, but also and true to a lot of the myths too, like the Greek myths. It kind of stayed close to these gods and demigods and monsters, and it's it's another good one. Again, the remakes, they just don't do it as much for me. Like, there was another one, I'm like, nah, the first one I still kind of like better. I know we're nostalgic for them, but still, at the same time, there was a passion in these old movies that are missing from the remakes, regardless of the production value. So
yeah, the star power and production value, and yet they still kind of missed the mark. I mean, I bought them both for like really cheap. I watched them once, Chris. And sometimes I forget I own them. Once in a while, like, oh yeah, I have those. But yeah, it's a childhood favorite of mine, man. I used to watch that on TV. I mean, the Medusa sequence, man.
Right.
That was just great music. This one I need to revisit. It's been so long. But I remember just really amazing puppet work. Take a guess what's next. 1982.
Dark Crystal?
Nailed it. Yeah. What is your thoughts on Dark Crystal?
Dark Crystal was a really interesting movie. Like, I remember even when it came out, like, the Henson Company was having difficulty marketing it because they thought it would be kind of something cute and fun for the kids, and it wasn't that at all. It was this dark, morbid story of like these two races and a shattered crystal and enslaving these smaller creatures, and it was super dark. It was also like a lot of these 80s movies that the storytelling is a little slower, but that's okay. It's another one that had, like you said, it's great puppetry, kind of a great world building. In fact, that's one thing I'll give Netflix credit for. To do a prequel with the puppets and stuff, I thought was really ambitious. I don't know how well it did because they only did one season, but I felt like that world was worth revisiting, and I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, movies is good.
I saw the trailer for the Netflix series, and I was like, this is insane. Like, this looks amazing. And I heard a lot of people were pissed off and upset that they weren't continuing it with the second season. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I would have gone for a second. I would have been there watching.
yeah, for sure. I don't know why, man. What's going on? I mean, maybe you'll tell me. I'm asking you, so Chris might nail it for me. What's up with the hate on Willow, man?
Oh my God!
Why does everyone hate Willow now? Like,
dude,
oh, that movie sucks. That movie's stupid.
You know what? Like, I gotta tell you. I'm in the camp that you are, that I don't quite get it either. I mean, it is what it is. The Willow, it's a classic 80s fantasy movie with Ron Howard, and, my buddy Rick Overton is in it with the Pixie, the Brownies, and Kevin Pollak. It's absolutely, classic. And I felt with the TV show that they kind of captured that kind of nostalgic 80s fantasy tone. I mean, was the show perfect? No, it had some flaws for sure, right. But I thought the core of it they got right, and I was like, I don't see how you could have loved the movie and then hated the show. Like, you'd probably have to hate all of it, because they were pretty closely related as far as like tone and feel.
Yeah. Right.
Character wise, there's I actually found in the show the adult characters far more compelling than the younger characters, and it was very, very clear too when they were sword fighting. Like, the younger actors and actresses really didn't know what they were doing, but you've got these these veteran actors there that clearly have done a lot of stage and weapon craft in their time. Yes. Their battles looked amazing, whereas you've got the kids, they're like doing these spins, waiting for the the enemy to just wait for them to finish their spin before they can stab them, and so it looked a lot less realistic. Right. I don't. It was another one where I thought, well, it was okay. I would still watch another season, but it got me on the nostalgia side of it. I mean, I don't. As far as hating Willow goes, that I don't quite get. That doesn't seem like the property that you would spend the energy to do that on.
Right. Well, I was young when I saw it. I grew up with it, so I'm really nostalgic for it. Now, I have not seen the show. I've heard a lot of good things, and I heard a lot of bad things about it.
Yeah. Now, ironically, both things may be true at once.
Yeah, right? Now, I can understand maybe people hating the show because maybe it wasn't what they wanted, right?
Right.
But now we have people hating. Now they watch the show. That's like their introduction to the show. And so they're like, well, we got to go back and watch the movie. And they hate the movie.
Yeah, it's spilled backwards somehow. I don't know.
I'm like, look, everybody. Look, all you Willow haters. All right, listen up.
And it was cutting edge at the
Willow,
time.
Dude, cutting edge. Willow, a great score by James Horner.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing score. Willow, all right, was our Lord of the Rings for the 80s kids.
Yes.
It was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so just
you got to remember
that.
too, we didn't get a lot of fantasy to choose from. We got one fantasy thing per, every couple years if we were lucky. But I remember too, like the special effects, like them, turning into pigs and animals, things like that, like the morphing was a new technology that, Ron Howard went up to Lucas and said, look, can you do this for me? And like his engineers and computer technicians and figured out ways to mix the practical and the computer effects. And it was, they were literally developing it on the fly for that movie.
Yeah. And you have at the end, the finale climax, you have two old female wizards beating the shit out of each other. What else do you want?
Exactly.
Punch each other in the face. But I mean, I love Willow. I mean, I get it. Everyone's different, but it's just like, when you grow up with it, it's different for some other people that are brand new to it. But yeah, I mean, great sword battles, memorable characters.
Yes, yeah.
Memorable villains. Oh, the guy with I wanted that toy so bad, but the skull over it, the guy with the badass sword with the ridges in it. Oh my God. I want
Val
that
Kilmer
now.
Was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Val Kilmer was so great. Mad Mardigan.
Yep.
Out of the way.
I know they wanted him to be in the show, just his health, wouldn't allow it. So, which was kind of a shame. You heard his voice a little bit, which I think they said was kind of a mix of Val Kilmer and his son.
Oh, you did.
But that's all you kind of got. But just because they were sadly because of his health.
Well, unfortunately, those who enjoyed the actual Willow series, I feel sorry for them because Disney just straight up buried that show.
Oh, yeah. They're like, well, no sequel, and we're pulling it from our streaming service where it was supposed to be exclusive forever. Yeah. Yeah, like it doesn't exist. Yeah, Jesus. The whole point of streaming service is to get a library of the things that we want to see, not to sell off pieces like a garage sale. So
Preach it. Preach it. All right, I'm having a blast here. Let's keep it going here. All right. Oh my God, I seen this once, and I remember the tree with the boobs. No, does that? Do you have a hint of what movie I'm talking about there?
Last Unicorn.
Yeah. I've only seen this once when I was a kid, and I just remember the weird tree with boobs. I was like, "What is going on?" But I remember the animation being pretty good for back then, 1982.
Another insane Rankin Bass fantasy animation with insane songs, characters, and all sorts of weird shit. And what they did, which was really unusual, and I don't know if anybody ever caught them on it or gave them studio notes, but like, there would be one scene that would be like so sickeningly cute or sweet. You were like, all right, well, this movie is for a 4-year-old. And then like the very next scene would be something dark and disturbing where somebody would like get killed by a harpy or something like awful. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this movie? I remember that. Like, this movie. Yeah. Yeah, Last Unicorn is a weird mix of like super sweet sugar and really off-putting fantasy violence.
And tree boobies.
Yeah, and tree boobs, which was also super weird. How that got past the executives, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I wonder how I'd feel about it now. This next one, I'm not surprised this one's here. This was my wife's one of her favorites. Labyrinth, 1986.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, loved Labyrinth. I also that was the kind of movie, too, that I felt like I wanted to make sure that was intergenerational. I made sure I introduced my kids to that movie. And, you don't realize, too, like, when you're a kid watching these movies, like, what the talent was behind making something like this.
Yeah.
Like, not only did you have Jim Henson creating with his Creature Shop and all of these things in the story, you've got Jennifer Connelly, younger, but also fantastic actress. You've got David Bowie, who's gets to do some songs and act like a crazy Goblin King. But you also have George Lucas was a producer on the film, and one of the Monty Pythons also wrote the script. So you've got all of these amazing talent into this this project, and it really showed through. Like, there's some great scenes where she's super arrogant. Is like, well, no, the labyrinth's been a piece of cake. And then I'm like, oh God. and then Goblin King goes, all right, well, how about this? And then just makes it much harder for her after that. And you see everything from like the arrogance of youth to growing up and kind of leaving childhood things behind. And there's so many themes and great things in that film that it's one of my go-to classics for sure.
Yeah, I wish I saw it when I was young. Believe it or not, I didn't see it when I was young. I remember seeing clips of it like on TV and going, "What is this movie?" like, I didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
But I guess 5 billion years ago, when me and my wife were hanging out, I think she had it on DVD because she grew up with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's when she showed it to me. She was embarrassed to show it to me because she didn't know how I was going to. She would be like, "Man, this is some bullshit. Maybe some tree boobs in this movie."
Never know. But even like the beginning, like the creepiness of it, like you have her looking at her baby, the baby, her brother. I'm like, oh, I wish the Goblin King would just take you away. And then it flashes to all these goblins and darkness. Did she say it yet? Did she say it yet? I'm like, oh my, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
So it's really
I was surprised.
Good.
I was surprised I enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yeah.
Especially the filmmaking aspect of it. I was just like, wow, there you go. Hoggle rules. There you go.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a fun movie, man. Now, just take a guess what the next one is. You should know. Just throw Hail Mary.
What number are we at?
We are at number 4.
Never Ending Story?
Give the man a gold star. Which I thought was adorable when they brought it back in Stranger Things, the theme song, until they decided to sing the whole goddamn song.
Right,
then I was like, stop it. But anyway, yeah, man, I mean, come on.
One of my favorite fantasy movies of literally all time, and it's a portal fantasy where, you have like somebody from our world interacting with the fantasy world, and the way that it was done while he's reading the book, where he doesn't even know he's like engaging and being part of the story. But the thing that really sold that movie was the darkness underneath. And remember, it was directed by Wolfgang Petersen, who did like Das Boot. So, he didn't sugarcoat anything. The loss, divorce, all of these things, the darkness of... and then at the end, there's like this speech from like this wolf talking about how... with dreams and darkness, how men are easier to control. I'm like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
This is incredible. It's an existential beatdown of humanity from a talking wolf. This is incredible.
Yeah, it just the visuals, man. Like,
look incredible.
Like, that's a childhood memory. We're just nostalgia, like just watching it young. I was like, oh my god. Yeah. And they say the Never-Ending Story often appears on lists of films that scare children. Due to its darker moments, though the film deals with themes of hopelessness and despair eroding creativity, it includes many characters who embody hope and optimism. Among them is Falkor, the luck dragon, who believes that good luck will find those who never give up. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, one of my this is what I'm talking about. All this big budget AAA animated nonsense that it may be pretty to look at. It might be pretty to look at, but there's no substance. There's nothing to it. I'm talking Secret of NIMH, son.
Oh, I remember Secret of NIMH. Yeah. Not really a fantasy movie, but an animated. It was one of Don Bluth's first films, and I don't know why they changed the title. Like, the actual book was called Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of NIMH, and for whatever reason they changed it to Mrs. Brisby and the Rats.
That was weird.
The Rats of NIMH. Like, well, what? You obviously got the rights. Why would you change the name of the character? But the book itself was dark, but the movie's a little darker towards the end. But it really still felt like it's definitely a Don Bluth feel to it for sure. It feels like everything from Dragon's Lair from the to the other movies that he animated. So, but it's good. Yeah, I don't know if I would have put it on that list of fantasy movies, though.
I just gushed because I liked the movie, and now I'm thinking about it. Like, I probably shouldn't have been there, but I just kind of gushed. I was like, oh, Secret of NIMH, because I like the movie. But it's just movies like Secret of NIMH. You're not going to see that in theaters today.
No, you're not.
Nope. All right. So, really quick, Never-Ending Story sequels. Your thoughts on the sequels?
Oh, yeah. Here's about the thing that's really interesting about Never-Ending Story is the actual movie.
It should have ended. It should have ended.
Yes, yeah. The truth in advertising. Yeah. The book is actually goes on much further than the events of the first film. The first film actually only does the first half of the book, so that to have a sequel and do the second half of the book is plausible or feasible. It completely fell flat and it didn't work. I mean, the best way, if you're going to do Neverending Story again, make it a show or a mini series where you could actually go through the way the writer, the original author intended, where you can make maybe a 10 episode, 10 hours or something, where you could kind of get into everything that was going on and kind of tie everything together. But yeah, there was a lot that was going on. But Wolfgang Petersen, I thought, he made the perfect movie. You never even thought that you were missing anything from the book. But when I read the book, I found that interesting, that there's a whole second half that they tried to film poorly and unsuccessfully. But I think there's ways to go back and do that right.
Right. And I remember coming across some people that they were like, "Oh my God, Neverending Story 2 is the worst. It's a trash. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen." I was like, "But have you seen the third one?" And they were like, "There's a third one?" I was like, "The third one makes the second one look like a masterpiece."
Wow.
Yeah, that's how bad the third one is. Let's see here. Next up, I don't know about this one, man. I don't know about this one. Let's have fun. And let's replace Secret of NIMH with Beastmaster.
Okay.
And this next one, I think we should replace it, but for some reason they have the Little Mermaid on here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. Like, all right, pick something random. I don't know if you want to put Krull there. I don't know. Pick something.
Krull would make more sense.
Yeah. What should we replace? Take that out, Little Mermaid, for something.
We could do Krull, because Krull was a giant fantasy movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
It was a giant flop, and it's cost the studio millions and millions of dollars. But it was a fantasy movie that had a couple of these weird science fiction elements that people didn't really love, and had some dark moments to it. But ultimately, it was great. A lot of money spent on production design and special effects with a really cheesy story that went nowhere. And so it's swing and a miss, but still fun for nostalgia to kind of see. And then you could see like a young
with it.
Liam Neeson and I think Robbie Coltrane are both in the movie. I'm like, wait, what are they doing in here? So it's fun to watch from that perspective too.
That's it. We just replaced Little Mermaid with Krull because we're gangsters like that.
Yep.
Deal with it. All right. The last one.
Buy a glaive.
I love. I would buy a glaive. I love this movie to death. Again, my parents took me to see this in the theater. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, "What the hell is this movie?" I love this movie to death. It is up to you if you feel that it deserves to be here. Number 1, 1987, The Princess Bride.
Yes, it's definitely a fantasy movie. It's got all the tropes: princesses, black knights, and monsters, giants. Absolutely. And here's the thing that I really love about this movie. It's difficult to do fantasy and comedy together and make it mesh well, but they really, the filmmakers and the actors, they all understood that we're basically telling a fairy tale for children and adults, and they leaned into it. And it was just a really fun movie. So yeah, it's definitely it's a classic for sure. And what was I think one of the things that made me laugh out loud? They were in the swamp and they were like worried about the things that were in the swamp. And then what was the thing they said? Were the ROU S's? The ROUS's, the rats of unusual size. I don't think they exist. And then they jump them. So it's really fun. Yeah.
I mean, the whole movie is like the pit of despair.
Yeah.
Don't even think about going down there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Like, inconceivable. You can quote the whole movie.
Billy Crystal with a nice cameo. So.
Yeah. Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah.
Oh man, well that was fun. That was fun to go down memory lane. But it was the 80s, so there's like probably hundreds more that we didn't mention.
Yeah.
Because we're thinking, we have stuff. Foreign cinema too. They have their fantasy fun films. But now it is time, to talk about Long Ago and Far Away. Again, one of my favorite reads, fantasy comedy reads. I highly recommend you guys check it out and pick up a coffee. You will not be disappointed.
Yep.
Mine's autographed, so suck it.
Yes. Yeah, I will autograph anybody who buys one. So yes.
No, Chris. Only me. I am more important.
True.
No.
True.
But yeah, man. For those that are brand new and have not come across this book, tell everybody the basic plot synopsis, and then we can talk about the Kickstarter, brother.
Absolutely. Well, as everyone knows, we're kind of still stuck in the 80s. So it's like a lot of 80s fantasy buddy movie comedies kind of, influence this. And I always wanted to make a story about like, what if it was like, instead of like British school children that went through the wardrobe to the fantasy world, what if it was like a bunch of asshole 30-year-olds who would go into a fantasy world and just like make things worse? So, so I always felt it was like kind of like a Clerks meets Game of Thrones kind of thing for Long Ago and Far Away, and how somebody could regain their lost vision of like their inner child and their childhood, and then but still become a hero. Like if you peak at 13 and save a kingdom, you're at 30 in therapy and running a comic book store. What's going to happen now? And then when they have to go back in that world again, he has to find his footing as a hero again. So that came out a couple years ago. You could get that either digitally, like on Amazon and a lot of other places, but you can also get it signed at whitecatentertainment.com. But
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
But Preston, as you know, today is the first day of the new Kickstarter for the sequel. So I wanted to get on here first day, get over here. The Phat Samurai Guy, he's going to plug. So let's get it going. But the sequel goes through like a couple more of those themes of like adulting and childhood, and because of Jason's indiscretions with the Witch Queen, he now has a son, but since time passed differently in Elvenwood, that son is now 20 years older than him, and meets him at a Comic-Con into his hotel room and tries to kill him with the sword because he's mad at being abandoned. So Jason then has to go back into the world because also he kind of pissed off all the necromancers up north, so now they're laying waste to Elvenwood with raising the dead as they go. So it's a great fun story with swords, sorcery, undead, necromancers, and poor parenting all kind of combined.
I mean, what else do you want?
Yeah.
What else do you want here, man? I mean, come on. Oh, man. But look, we already got some backers going already. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Day
That's
one.
right.
So we're off to a good start, but we need you, listeners and watchers. So go to Kickstarter.com, Long Ago and Far Away 2, Son of Elvenwood. Please pledge now. If you missed the first one, no problem. There's actual tiers. There's catch-up tiers where you could get Volume 1 and Volume 2 together so you won't miss anything. Or if you can't wait, you could just buy it from the store and then do the Kickstarter for just the second book. But any way that makes sense to you, you can get the whole story. And if you pledge, and the quicker you pledge, the higher that number can go up, and I can relax if we get closer to the goals. So earlier is better.
Yes, and I did put the link to the Kickstarter in the description box below of this video, guys. So just look down, boom, click on it, show some love, show some support, get it out there, because we need more. We need more comedy in our lives. We need more adventure and fantasy in our lives.
We do.
And I'm telling you, that first book delivered, so I cannot wait. I'm excited for the second one here, man. Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to tell you, your favorite character, Lord Montalban, the Black Knight. He's not in the promo stuff, but he is figured prominently in the sequel, in the book, for sure.
Yes, that's my guy. That's my guy right there, man. Yeah, I love that guy. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's take a look at this stuff right here, and let me scroll down here. Now, over here on the right, is this the perks?
Yeah, that's the reward. So you could just, if you want the book digital, or if you want it hard copy, and then there's packages after that. So it's really only $10 if you just want the digital, and then 20 plus shipping for the book. Nice.
So you get it digitally. Look at that. You get a signed physical book. Look at that. You get it signed because I've allowed it.
Yes.
Yes, nice. Yes.
Endorsed by that Phat Samurai Guy. So good.
Digital. This is the catch-up tier you were talking about.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Look at that, guys. All you need to get caught up with the story, get Son of Elvenwood Part 1 along with the Long Ago and Far Away Volume 1 as digital PDF files. Look at that. You can't beat that. 2 copies of the signed physical book.
Yep. Some people want to give one as a gift. I'm like, sure. Yeah. You get a little discount if you want to.
Yeah. Early bird physical book catch-up tier. Look at that.
There's still 20 left out of 25 on those. So 5 already went for day 1, but that'll save you $5 if you do that now. There's only 20 of those.
Nice. And the physical book catch-up tier here.
And that's the regular price, yeah.
Nice. And White Cat physical book pack. Yes.
Yeah, that's where you get
all 3.
Yep, you get Rise of the Kung Fu Dragon Master, Long Gone Far Away, and the new book. So you get everything together.
Nice. Perfect. And this is the big one here. All the Mancini/Pinto books digitally. Look at that.
Yep.
You get
that
everything.
Includes all the stuff Fernando Pinto and I did together and some of the stuff he did on his own. So it's like over 500 pages of digital content you get for that tier.
Look at that. That is amazing.
And then if you want physical copies, same thing.
Yeah. Nice. Vendor tier? What's this one?
If somebody has a store and they just want to buy 10 books, then they can resell them in their store.
Nice. Oh, we get a VIP Elvenwood royalty reward. Look at that.
Yep, you get your name in the book on a plaque inside the Obsidian Dragon Tavern, and then also on a regular page. We're going to have a separate page just for all the backers that do the Elvenwood royalty.
Now that's amazing. That is amazing. Yes. Definitely worth the price of admission.
For sure.
Even though it's not a movie, but it's a book.
Yeah.
yeah. And only $10, guys. Yeah. Definitely show some support. This artwork is always fun and amazing. Yeah. If you're having a bad day, I'm telling you, you got to read this first book. You got to read the book. You will laugh. You will have a blast, and you will want more. And now you have an opportunity, extremely rare opportunity, to get more. So you guys know what you need to do. That's right. Click on that Kickstarter and get it going here. Yes.
And, with Kickstarter, too, we can't get it made without you guys. So you are definitely a very critical part of the process. So
yes.
That's why we always really love the support and help, because that's the only way we can get these done.
Yes. Copy that. Without spoiling too much, can you talk a little bit about this panel right here?
Yes, that kind of happens at the end of the first one, which kind of sets up the second story, where they're at Comic-Con, and there's a knock on the hotel room door, and it's Lord Stone, who is Jason's son, and he starts just sword fighting, and it's like, and you told me I shouldn't bring a sword to a comic book convention. I'm like, oh, gee, you proved me wrong. Well done. So they're literally fighting in the hotel room, and he says, well, don't you recognize me, father? And what happened is that since he pissed off all the necromancers, the only way to keep him safe was Nexus, his mother, the Witch Queen, sent him to Jason's world to protect him because the entire sect of necromancers is coming after him. So, but then they don't stay, obviously. They have to kind of make things right and go back to the fantasy world.
There you go, guys. Little taste. I just wanted to hear him talk about it.
Yeah.
A little bit more. But yeah, I love this artwork, man. This is great. Look at all this stuff. Amazing.
Yeah, Fernando Pinto is fantastic. He's really, really good.
There she is.
And we also got some other great people on the team, too. We've got Troy Petrie, who's been working for DC and Marvel as the letterer. And then we just added Heather Antos, who is an editor from IDW. She does all the Star Trek and Star Wars books.
Oh,
she came on board to edit the book. So we've got a lot of really great people working on it. So you won't be disappointed.
Nice. I love this shot right here. This is great. That's exciting. Love it. I love it.
Yeah, new outfits.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let the adventure begin. Yes, let's do this. Or continue.
Yeah.
And only you guys watching right now, only you can make it happen. That's right. So we can continue the saga. That's right. Yes. Here we go. Some more recap of the perks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you just want to see.
Now, what's going on here? What's going on here?
These are some add-ons of my other books. Like some of the people are still like, the Remember Comedy Film Nerds. So I have the Comedy Film Nerds Guide to Movies and my parenting book. Every once in a while, people add that on there. That's from Simon & Schuster, Pacify Me, Handbook for the Freaked Out New Dad, because obviously I get very nerdy in that book with my sci-fi and fantasy references. So what's great about Kickstarter now is people can just add like whatever they want now. I'm like, oh, well, I missed this. I don't want this. I want this. You could kind of pick and choose your checkout now. So which is really nice. So people can really get the pledge customized to what they want.
Nice. Yeah. And we got them stretch goals, yes.
Yeah, we get a pinup gallery and some nice stuff kind of planned if we can get to some of these numbers.
Yeah. For sure. There we go. And this is this shipping everywhere? Like if somebody from the UK wants to buy it?
It is shipping everywhere. Just I will warn people the international shipping is expensive just because it is expensive. There's nothing we could really do about that, but
yeah.
it is available.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, man. I am excited. That's right, everybody. We got to get it going. We got to make it happen. That's right. Share it. If you can't support it, share the link. Share the Kickstarter link, or share this video, but share this Kickstarter link. Get it out there for comic book lovers out there. Yeah, let them know about it. Share it. Every little bit helps. Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I think we got a backer while we were talking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was 32. I think it went up to 33.
Oh,
That's
shit.
awesome.
Wow, look at that.
Nice job, everybody. Keep it going.
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey,
back with me still on the show. That makes me feel even better.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Support it, get it out there, and share it. Yeah, baby. Yeah. I'm excited, Chris. I'm excited.
So am
I can't wait, man. Yeah, man.
I wrote the entire thing out because I can't really write the chapters as much as I'm kind of trained as really writing screenplays and shows. So I literally wrote the entire volume 2 out, but I'm cutting it up in 3 sections just to make it easier to raise money and make for. But it's going to be all in. Probably about 220 pages, volume 2. When after all 3 volumes are kind of put together, or all 3 parts are cut together for volume 2. But the first we're breaking it up probably into about 90 page chunks. So it's a hefty graphic novel. Each section will be a lot of pages.
Nice. Yeah, man. I'm excited. That's right. Sorcery, swords, action, comedy, fantasy, adventure, beautiful women, and guys that look like me. Just normal slubs. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah.
Got everything.
Again, Samurai Guy doesn't steer you guys wrong. I'm being honest. I am being honest. I absolutely adored this first book. I sat there and I didn't even get up. I didn't even put it down.
Awesome.
I just kept reading. I turned on the light and I'm like, I was like, I'll read a few pages.
Yeah.
I get it started. Nope. Kept reading it. So we need to see how the saga's going to end. And only you guys can make it happen, baby. That's right. Click on that Kickstarter link in the description box below. Make sure you follow my boy. That's right. On Instagram and all that good stuff. White Cat Entertainment, baby. That's right. Follow that. Follow on your plug your podcast too, my friend. Yeah, get it out. What's your podcast again?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can see everything at whitecatentertainment.com, including the podcast. I have a couple of them right now. A narrative one. I have Conversations from the Abyss, which is a kind of a Twilight Zone-y 20-minute creepy, weird conversations that I've called a bunch of my comedian and actor friends from Legend of Korra and Drunk History, and Aisha Tyler does one. So we've got some fun, good names, and it's really good. But they're short; they're 20 minutes long. And then I always say that's I'm telling you stories to keep you awake and stories to help you sleep. And the other one is The Quiet Journeys of Professor Atwood, which is something to help people with insomnia and also anxiety. It's a storytelling podcast about a professor that goes on these adventures, but it has a bed of music and sound effects to kind of help you just kind of take the temperature down and help you kind of fall off to fall asleep. So those I'm trying to help people, and also I love telling stories, so it was a no-brainer for me, and that one's been going pretty well too.
Any AMSR or
it's not it's more it's more like soundscapey kind of things where it's just you hear you're in space or you're under the ocean and that's where the professor's going. But it's more I go for the more hypnotic. Kind of settle you that way.
Well, shit, I'm gonna have to listen to that.
And it's a compliment if you say, I fell asleep listening to your podcast. That actually is a positive. That means it worked.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, man. Hey, it was an honor to have you here, brother.
Always great coming here. Thanks for having me on launch day. It was great.
Yeah, we launched it right here on the channel. We kicked it off, baby. And as you saw, people are already backing.
Already there.
Project.
Awesome.
They're already backing it. So we got to keep doing it. Get it out there. That's right. Share the link. If you can't support, share it. Get that Kickstarter link out there. That's right. We got to make it happen. We got to see the rest of the story. That's right. Because it'll be well worth it. Trust me. All right. Chris, don't go anywhere. But all you badasses, keep watching your fantasy movies and reading your comics. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.